Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. Today we are making chocolate chip cookie bars, but these aren't any ordinary cookie bars. These cookie bars are made with cassava flour in place of all-purpose flour. Cassava flour is naturally gluten-free, it's grain-free, it's paleo, and it's super easy to work with. So what is cassava? It is a starchy tuber, in other words, a root vegetable that is actually a dietary staple in many parts of the world. When it is dried, it forms a fluffy white flour that is a great alternative to all-purpose flour in a lot of recipes. So these cookie bars are super simple. You're gonna get a grain-free cookie bar without having to use an armload of ingredients. And you end up with a fluffy, almost cake-like cookie bar with a delicious classic chocolate chip flavor. I love to serve these with cold milk, or better yet, a scoop of ice cream. So stick around, let's head to the kitchen. I'm ready to bake some cookies. This is a really easy one bowl cookie dough, but before I get started, I'm just going to weigh out some of my ingredients. As you may know, I am a huge fan of my kitchen scale because it makes baking so much easier and, more importantly, so much more accurate. But don't worry, if you don't have one, I do include cup measurements in the recipe. So I have 130 grams of my cassava flour, which is 1 cup, and now I'm going to weigh out my sugar. I am using coconut sugar today. I love the flavor of coconut sugar. It's more complex. It's also more nutritious than regular table sugar, and it just works beautifully in this recipe. So I have 115 grams here, and now it's time to get started on our batter. I have a stick of softened butter, and I'm gonna add that coconut sugar to my stand mixer. And don't worry, if you don't have a stand mixer, you could totally use hand beaters instead. No big deal. Okay, we're gonna beat on medium-high until the mixture turns light and creamy. It'll take a good minute or two. This looks great, but before I add any more ingredients, I just want to scrape down the sides. Next, I'm going to add my eggs. I've got 2 large eggs, as well as some honey. Now, the honey is not only going to provide a bit more sweetness, but it's also going to help with the texture of the cookie bars. And then some vanilla extract. If you wanted to splurge here, you could totally go for some fresh vanilla bean instead. Okay, beat this again until everything is incorporated. It'll take a good minute or two, so just try to be patient, which is not my strong suit, by the way. Now, before we add the dry ingredients, I'm gonna scrape down the sides, and then in goes that cassava flour that we already weighed out. I also have a ½ teaspoon of baking powder, and last but not least, a ½ teaspoon of fine sea salt. Now beat this again on low just until everything is evenly incorporated. All right, now we're not quite done yet because we have to add the chocolate. I'm adding a cup of chocolate chips. You could use bittersweet or semi-sweet, along with some chopped pecans, which are optional, but which give the cookie bars a lovely texture. And that, my friends, is the batter. I am just going to remove the paddle. We don't need that anymore. And then give it one more stir just to make sure I got all of that flour incorporated. Let's get this batter in our pan. I have an 8 by 8 inch baking pan that I've sprayed with cooking spray, and I'm lining it crosswise with parchment paper. That's just gonna make it really easy to get the bars out of the pan after they're baked. The batter is quite thick, so I start by spooning it into the pan, and then I'll go back in there and spread it out. By the way, why am I making cookie bars instead of cookies? Because they're so much easier to make. No scooping of dough, no multiple batches. It's a one-stop shop. However, you can make cookies out of this dough, and I include instructions for that in the recipe. You can never have too much chocolate, so we are going to sprinkle the top of the bars with more chocolate chips before baking them in a 350-degree oven until they are golden brown on top. Oh, you guys, I wish you were here to share these with me. Actually, I am perfectly happy to eat them all myself. Now, you want to let these cool slightly before removing them from the pan. Just run a thin knife along the edges and then pull them right out. And it is time to slice our cookie bars. Use a long, thin knife. You can wipe the knife clean in between slices to get a really clean cut. I'm cutting these into 9 bars, but you can cut them as big or as small as you like. These chocolate chip cassava cookie bars have a rich, buttery flavor, but a surprisingly light, fluffy texture thanks to that cassava flour. I love to serve them with a cold glass of milk as a treat or an afternoon snack, or top them off with a scoop of ice cream as a decadent dessert. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You can get the full recipe at the link below. I really hope you like it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And remember, be sure to subscribe for more tips and recipes from my From Scratch Fast kitchen. I'll see you next time.